Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this installment of From Both Sides of the Couch with Rwenshaun Miller. Today, we will be talking about imposter syndrome and pursuing a higher ed degree. In my case, it's a Ph.D. To do so, man, I want to invite you in on my therapy session with my therapist, Stevon Lewis. We're going to be talking about, my issues dealing with imposter syndrome and how I'm going about my dissertation process and even just the academia realm, period. So I hope that it's beneficial to you all. And this is for me as a therapist, now you get to see me as a therapist receiving therapy. So check it out.
Okay, cool. That works. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like that sweater, man. I mean, aside from the letters and colors and stuff like that, but I mean, the fact that it's like a hoodie with the opposite colored, thing. You did everything right and then ruined it all. That
I
shit, it
wore it
was it was
just for
dope.
you.
Yeah, yeah. And so I thought about doing that, right? Like I thought about actually putting on my campus wear. I do have some new sweats, so let me show you up on the thing. I got it saved right there. So the
All
sweats for
right.
sure. But I should have done my kappa shirt. Yeah, my sweater for sure. Yeah, I should have wore letters, and I didn't. I didn't put on no apparel. Yeah,
It's cool,
yeah,
man. But no, I appreciate you taking the time, man, and allow me to get on your schedule.
sure.
Definitely something that I was thinking about, and I was like, man, let me tap into my resources that are right here because it's something that's major through this transition in life, but then also just
Mhm.
understanding where the holdups are.
Yeah, like that's what I'm interested to kind of find out because obviously there's a disconnect for me and for you. So like the way you're kind of experiencing going through life right now or seeing things is different from what I see on the outside. So I'm trying to, I guess have you help me understand why I should see stuff your way. Hopefully you'll
Right.
be able to do that. If not, then you need to adopt my way.
Bet. All right. Well, I mean, I'm all yours, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So when you reached out, you were talking about, this is me and stuff, so I cussed and all kinds of shit. So, but like you were talking about the fact that like it's around your dissertation. Like you were saying, oh, I'm having some imposter syndrome around that, which I know you, so it's, and I don't think you have like a unrealistic sense of self or perception of self. So when you were like around dissertation, I'm like, what's going on there? Because you've gotten through this whole program. This is the last stage. So like I guess now like what is it about? Like why do you say it's imposter syndrome?
I think I would identify it as imposter syndrome because of the fact of like, for one, I've been hesitating as far as writing,
Mhm.
and just thinking about my the it's the lack of confidence in my writing skills, but then also the understanding of what goes into a dissertation. Like you got to do the research, you got to know all the terminologies, you got to know how to conduct the research, but then also read the research and do all of this. And I'm like, I got through the classes, but getting through the classes and then doing it on your own is something completely different. But then also, to be honest with you, bro, like during the whole program, I've been running my businesses throughout the entire thing too. So
Yep.
it's kind of like I had one foot in and one foot out of the program, and then and if you look at my other people in my cohort, they're far along ahead of me when it comes down to their dissertation, as far as like whether defended they defended their proposal, or they already
Hmm.
collecting data, or all of those particular things. And then they're looking at me to be like, "Yo, Sean, how's your dissertation going?" I'd be like, "Man, I don't even want to talk about that right now."
What
Yeah,
dissertation?
right. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, "Yo, I don't even want to talk about that. Let's talk about something else." But
Right.
again, it's still, I think, the aspect of for one, being the only black male in the pro, well, in my and
Hmm.
only black American male in my cohort. But then also understanding, like, sometimes we got to work so much harder to be on the same level in certain instances. But then, like I said, understanding certain tech terminologies and all of that stuff, I'd be like, yo, when I was in the class, I did it just to get through the class, and I was done.
Right.
So like,
Right.
I'm like, and then also, I guess, with the dissertation process, you get a dissertation chair, but your dissertation chair is not too hands on. It's more so of them
Hmm.
just you turn stuff in and they be like, oh, this right, this is wrong, and that's
Yep.
about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you really out here on your own doing it. So if you out here on your own trying to do it, like I'm confident when it comes down to therapy. I'm confident when it comes down to speaking. I'm confident in all of that stuff. But when I get there, I feel like, yo, I'm smart, but I don't know if I'm smart enough to get this thing done.
Interesting, interesting. So there's a lot you mentioned. So the way I operate now, because I've been doing this shit for so long, is like my ears just get triggered. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, of
fire
course.
and like
Right,
stuff. Like
right,
everything you're
right.
saying is like, oh, there's that one, there's that thing. So first, there's this kind of thing of where and I call, like, I guess the way I label it is like a defaulting to perfection, right? And so for you, you're saying, well, I know how to get through the classes, I can do that part, but when it comes to this writing thing and this terminology and all this stuff, I'm not perfect at that. And so then that kind of diminishes your belief in self. And so as a result of, you've gone through all this school already in life, and obviously it was good enough, and even in the program, I'm sure you've had to write some papers, and you've done well there. Now that it comes to this dissertation, somehow, some way, this is different writing what you've done in the last like 10, 12 years. So I'm not sure what's
Right.
different about this writing dissertation, because I'm sure you've written research papers, you've done research, like you've done this stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's different about the dissertation now?
I guess because of the fact of like it's like so much weight that's put on it. It's
Mhm.
like this one long paper that you got to spend a whole lot of time. And then also, I guess too, is when you listen to other people talk about it, it'd be like, oh, we're so long and daunting, and this, and so that gets stuck into your head, and you're like, oh, it has to be perfect. And then if sometimes I look at it, I'm like, yo, I can knock this out in like a month or two. If I
Yeah.
just sit down, I can knock it out. But then people be like, oh no, let's go take 2 3 years, and then you be like, oh well, if I feel like I can knock it out in a month or two, that means something must be wrong. Like,
Yeah,
it's
there
like
you go.
there's a disconnect if I'm that overconfident in it, and then other people are looking at it like, nah, it's gonna take this longest period of time. And then I also, I guess, just I look at it too from the aspect of, we do a lot of code switching and when we go into
Mhm.
certain areas. And writing a dissertation is like code switching for me. Because you
The
gotta write it.
entire 80, 90 pages is going to be is not how you would speak or talk on a regular, 1,000%.
Right, right. And so like
Like none of that
that
shit's
within
you.
itself is right, and right. And so that is daunting within itself too, because you gotta, have it in certain formats. You gotta cite and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, yo, I think in certain instances sometimes you get tired of doing all of that. You be like, yo, let
Yep.
me tell you what I know, how I know it in the way that I know how to tell you, and then let me flow from that. And then I mean,
Right.
we can do it. I can rock it out from there. But trying to put it in
Yep.
this box, and I was like, I guess that's where the imposter syndrome, kind of, teeters, because I'm like, you flirt with yourself, be like, oh, I know I need to put it in this box, but I don't want to put it in this box.
Because like the imposter part is like, that's not me. And
Right.
you're right about that. Like, so see, that's not like, it's not a thing of where you are an imposter in that way. That is not you. You do not speak like that. You do not write like that on a regular. You're doing this shit for them. I
Mm-hmm.
think the part I kind of attached to was when you said, well, I'm talking to other people and I feel like I could do it in a month, but they're like, you got to take 2 years or 3 years. I'm wondering, what is it about their observation that they know that you don't know? Like, I guess I'm wondering, in your life or in your history, does stuff take you as long as it does for other people?
Uh, man, normally, like even as I was the ultimate procrastinator when it comes down to certain things, especially schoolwork. So
Mm-hmm.
like even if I had like independent studies in school, or I had to write a paper and all that, and I wait till the last night to crank that paper out and get an A on it. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how I always operated, man. And like things just started to flow. And so that I think, undergrad is different from master's program.
For
Master's
sure.
program is different from your PhD program. And having that mentality, I think like, yo, if I just sit down and buckle down, I can knock this thing out in a month or two. At least
Right.
the first part, where and then do the research or whatever, and then after that, all of those just knock it out. But I guess from this perspective of academia, you hear all of these long nightmares about, people, and then you're like, well, I'm a part of academia, but I'm not a part of academia. I don't want to go in academia. And so I'm like, that's why I say I feel like something is wrong. There's a disconnect for me. And I'm like, and so
Yeah.
then when that disconnect comes, I get frustrated, then I get overwhelmed, and then I'll be like, fuck it. I ain't doing shit.
Yep.
I'd
Yep.
rather go work on
100%.
I was like, I'd rather go work on my business. I'm good at my business. I can do that. I'd rather put my
Yep.
energy to that. And then this dissertation is starting to get drawn out. And I'm
Yep.
like, fuck. But then also I'm like, I'm paying for school too. So like
That part, that part, that part, that part, that part. So what's interesting for me is that I hear when you talk, and I pay attention to language a lot, I hear you talk about yourself, it's not really direct in a way that's you're dinging yourself for things that you do well, right? So like by that I mean when you say, well, I learned I procrastinate. Procrastination, you labeled that or defined that as like a not good trait to have, right? Like you're like, oh, I'm procrastinate, but I can still get an A. And I'm like, well, that's dope, right? Like what you're saying is that you don't have to take as long or work as hard as other people to still get here. To me, that says you're gifted, but you deem yourself on that. Like you said, well, I waited till the last minute, so that's a bad idea. Or like, I'm like, you still got the grade, so what does it matter? What does it matter
right,
that
right,
you waited? What is the last minute? You got it in before the deadline. Like that's all that you were supposed to do.
right,
But
right.
I mean, if you did that weeks ahead or 30 minutes ahead, what's the difference? I
Right,
mean, if
right, 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 right,
you
right, right.
you beat the deadline, but you treat it as though
Right.
like because you waited till 30 minutes before that somehow you've done something wrong. And I'm saying like that's dope as fuck. Like I'm sure other people would love to not have to do stuff weeks in advance and wait and still be able to get the positive result that they wanted. Like that is a gift, but you treat it as
Yeah.
like a not good skill that you have. And I don't know why you label it that way.
Ooh, that's a good call out, bro. I think in certain instances, we try to diminish our own light in certain places just because so that we can
Mm-hmm.
fit in.
Yep.
Um, even though
Is that what you want to do?
we nah, you know me, like
Yeah,
nah,
that's why I asked that because that's
nah,
not, I don't
nah,
know you to want to. Nothing about how you
no,
operate or have lived your life is one of trying to fit in.
right,
Like you're about accepting people for who they are
right, right.
and yourself too.
And
I guess when I hear the procrastination piece, it makes me think about, and I use a ton of sports analogies. Like you're saying because you're a rookie or something that you shouldn't be starting.
yeah, right, 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 right.
And I'm like, if you can start and you're a rookie, that just means you don't. Like, why is that a bad thing?
Yeah. That's real. I never thought about it like that though. And diminishing, like you said, they I guess it's challenging too with being gifted, um,
Mm-hmm.
especially as a gifted adult,
Mm-hmm.
um, being able to express that without being, braggadocious or,
Yeah.
being, so seeming
There's
that
that
way. So
humility. Like, I don't want other people, because this is easy for me, because I can do my dissertation in a month and it's going to take them a year or 18 months. I don't want to go around saying that stuff,
right,
but it's
right,
just facts.
right. It is right. Because even like when it came down to doing the program, man, bro, I was running three businesses at the same time while cranking out
100%.
papers at night,
I remember
and
that.
like
Like, we
people was
would
like,
be on the Zoom, like legit, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm about to get off and go to the office, like after this to start working on this paper." I'm like, "Isn't it like 12 o'clock? Like, is it like midnight there? What are you doing, bro?"
right, right, but and
Yeah,
then crank out a paper and then get up and go see clients and stuff, but
yeah,
like, and then people were like, well, how do you do it? That don't even make sense, and sometimes to be real with you, bro, I get tired of explain or trying to explain it.
right, right. You like,
You be
I
like,
can't explain. It's just what I do, man. Like, how do you
right,
jump so high? Shit, I don't know, man. I just jump, and I'm up there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I could tell you, I would, but it's just natural. It's just what it is.
Right, right. But that's, I guess, so I guess to that point, even just thinking about that, not dinging myself for my gifts, man. How would you
Yeah.
say that I should even address that?
Well, for me, like I think acknowledging what you're doing as a gift, like the way you talk about it is not as though it's a gift. You talked about it
Mm.
as like it was a, I mean, what's the opposite of a gift? Like only thing I'm thinking of
A
is like a
burden.
disservice, but yeah,
It's a
yeah,
burden. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, well, that's like a superpower. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you don't like you legit, you don't want it. But that also doesn't jive with who you are. Like you don't
Right.
run from like being yourself. So this is
Right.
for me, it's not making sense. Like the way I know like Rwenshaun, like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not.
And I guess to that point though, like all of these different perceptions that people have, you know what I'm saying? That's why I came to you with. I was like, yo, like sometimes shit just don't add up. Or,
Right.
I in my head it doesn't add up. And so that's why when it came down to, like I said, I'm confident when it comes down to speaking. I'm confident in doing therapy. I'm confident in
Yep.
certain areas. But then, like this dissertation, like I said, even acknowledging my gift to be able to code switch for a long paper or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know. It seems like this daunting task, and I was like, "Yo, you just don't fit into this box." So, and like, and it gets to the point where I'd be like, "No, you're not gonna do this today. You're not gonna do it at
Yeah.
all. Let's go work on something else."
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like maybe it's a thing of where because it's so lasting that and it's because dissertations get published and shit is that like you're saying that people are gonna see this as me being how I operate forever,
Mm,
like in perpetuity, right? And that's not really the case. That's what you did for the dissertation, but how you work and how you move through the world is still going to be you. And I think you're
mm,
trying to maybe some of the hesitancy or reticence you have to try to like move forward is about like saying, well, I don't want to lose who I am because I have to complete this paper. And I'm saying like I
right.
don't know that because this is going to be all academic and it's going to be all technical and all this jargon that people are now going to associate that with you. So that when
Mm,
when we do what's good, bro, or you out doing your speaking engagements, they're going to be expecting you to use all that technical jargon. That's not how you get down.
right. Right.
And you've
Right.
been doing like I think you have a bigger reputation than this dissertation for sure.
Definitely. Definitely. Definitely.
Like it says a lot about who you are that like for whatever reason you've leaned into yourself, which is dope as fuck to me. Like you've leaned into who you are a long time ago,
Hmm.
right? And like it's almost impossible. Like you were gonna fight tooth and nail to not destroy that, to be different. Like you like I'm gonna show up as me.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I remember the first
Yeah.
time we hopped on the like we were talking about even doing what's good, bro, and you were like, yo, like I don't know about y'all, but like I don't really do all this, professional talking. Kind of like I'm gonna be me, man. So like, like if that's what y'all bringing to the table, then maybe this is not gonna be the form for me. And it's like, nah, like I don't get down like that either. Like, I mean, I don't know if I've used one technical term here, like, right, but like,
Right. Right. Right.
the message gets
Right.
through.
Right. Right. Right.
So it feels inauthentic for you to do this dissertation.
It does. It really does. But then honestly, school has always came easy, but then school also feels inauthentic within itself. Period.
Yeah.
I guess because of the way it's done, and
How so?
I would say you got to read all of this stuff, and then you got to just regurgitate everything. So like even in this program, right?
Uh-huh.
Like we doing discussion board posts, and they want you to read what's going on, and then give a synopsis of what's going on. What's the point of me giving a synopsis when everybody read the same thing? No, like for what? Like
Yeah, like
that's waste.
practicality of it. You're like, we all read it. We all know what's up. Why do we all need to have like our own interpretation now communicated like about this shit? Like, what is that about? Like, for what?
And so a lot of times, even in that stuff, bruh, I would go outside of that and not do. I'll put maybe one or two quotes from the reading because you had to, but I would take
Yeah.
my interpretation and then make it applicable to something in real life, and really
Yeah.
like same way we do the DSM. We'll take that and then make it applicable and then
Yep.
make it something that people can digest. And
Yes.
that's the same way I've been doing it. But I guess with the dissertation, I look at it like I can't flip that. Like, I can't flip that bird that way. I have to stick it into that box. And I'm just like, it's like, like,
Yeah, you're
Lord,
like,
geez.
I can't live like that. Like, like it's interesting. Like when you were talking, the theme that kind of jumped out about me, and I think it's probably like a core characteristic, and I don't know if you're aware of it, is that you're very efficient
Mm,
as an individual. You're very efficient. Like you don't like your stuff is purposeful. So like it makes sense when you say like procrastination. It's really not procrastination. It's efficiency. Like you use your time really well. So when people try to, I guess, understand like, well, how can you run 3 businesses successfully and do the what's good, bro, and then hop off and do a paper, and then not have done it six weeks ahead because you use time, like you're efficient with like your efforts.
mm,
Like I'm probably thinking like when you go to the gym, you're not spending like 4 hours in there. Like you could get in and get a good workout in
yeah,
like 50 minutes
yeah,
and be
yeah,
out of there.
yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
I don't do a whole lot of talking. Like people be wanting to talk. I'm like, look, I put my headphones on, even if I ain't got my music on. I put my headphones
Right.
on so people think that I'm listening to music, so they don't talk to me. Like, no,
Yep.
I'm here to get something done, and that's it.
Yep. 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 You're efficient. And that's a good trait to have. But that's why you're able to do what you could do. And the weird thing is that like academia is not that way. That's probably why you work for yourself, because like in systems they aren't efficient. You got to
Mm-hmm.
do this and you got to do all that to be able to do this other thing. And you're like, I'm gonna do the thing. Like I don't need to.
Right.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to do all of that shit. Like no, it's like you even like with writing this paper, you're like, yo man, like I gotta do this research. Which I get. I'm gonna collect some data on stuff, and then you want me to do this, and then I got to take it to this to get reviewed, and this person, and I got to get the IRB to do this and that. And you're like,
Right.
man, like, hey, do you want the research to get out? Like, do you like what are you guys doing?
Right. Right. Yeah. So I guess that's my conundrum, man. But I think one of the things that I'm glad that you pointed out, it's not procrastination, it's efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And just changing my thought process of even just my own gifts. But then also it's not just the gifts of, to be able to be efficient, but then also, like you said, I've made it to this point for a reason.
Right.
A lot of times we can lose track of that. um
Yeah, you've done a lot of school, which suggests to me
yeah,
that you know how to thrive in that environment, even though it doesn't match to who you are.
yeah, yeah,
You
a whole
don't
lot
you
of
don't
school.
get to a PhD program and not know how to survive in school, right? Like there's so many other things
True.
hurdles you gotta jump through, and benchmarks you gotta meet to even get accepted, and then to even get to the end of that. So like
Right.
school thing, you got down. You know how to do that. You may not
That's
have
true.
wanted to in the way that they did it, right? But it's the code switch. It's like you talked about, like being a black person, in kind of majority white spaces, like you can't operate the way you want to.
Hmm.
It just doesn't get
Hmm.
rewarded in the same way. It's
Hmm.
survival. You learned
Mm.
that before you probably ever got to school. I mean, like when we talked about you
Hmm.
growing up in the South, it was like, oh shit, yeah, 100%. Like that's like
Right.
so I can
Right.
make it to like 13. I got to know this stuff over here.
Right. 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 That's true.
And I wonder, like, if
That's
that
very
stuff
true.
is getting, because you've been doing it so long, it's just starting to get exhausting. Because in other areas, like you said, in business and shit, you've gotten to a level you don't have to. You like, I'm beyond surviving. Like, yo, I call shots here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Like, I guess you get fatigued when it comes down to doing all of that stuff. That constant switch and that constant always trying to, I think, like you said before, is trying to live up to that expectation of perfection.
hmm,
Um, because when you're in certain spaces, especially in white spaces, and for one, we don't have a lot of PhDs out here
yeah,
that look like us. But then for two, you feel like you represent everybody when
yeah.
you're in that space. You know.
That's a lot of
So even
pressure.
if I can, it's a whole lot of pressure.
Is
Yeah.
that true for you? Like just in your history? Like, is that like for family too? Like, are your parents have like advanced degrees or like siblings? If you have like, are they?
Bruh, for one, I'm the only child,
There
and
you
I'm
go.
the only, and I will be the only doctor.
He's like, listen. There's no one else like me doing this shit at all. Yeah,
Nah, I mean, no,
100%.
it's no not to my fam. I love my, but
No, for real.
that's but yeah, that's what it is.
It's the
Um,
truth. It's objective information. I mean, again, if you can jump 40 inches, this is what it is.
yeah, yeah. So I guess like you said before, like I think like we said before, you have people have these perceptions of you, but then you also have these perceptions and these personas and stuff that you got to live up to, and then also
Mhm.
what's going on in your head.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then you be like, yo, that ain't me in certain spaces. But then some of it's me, but some of it's not. But then you got to, I guess that's where I come in with the imposter stuff. I would see because especially when it comes down to that jargon, that academic jargon, I'd be like, it's like it's so taxing. It is.
And because it's like not you, you feel like, well, you're doing it wrong. And I guess like
Yeah.
the way I think about it is that you have again, this is bananas. Like I've known you a while. We've chatted multiple times. We've been on the phone and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like this. It's like jumping out at me now of like where you don't recognize your gifts, bro. Like the fact that like you can understand the information and then translate that shit almost to a language that more people can understand. Because like the way you're gonna write dissertation is gonna be in a way that only other academics can understand it. But the
Hmm.
thing that's dope is that having done the research, you can now take that information and tell it to everybody else. But you
True.
don't treat that as a gift. You're like, that's not how I don't really do this academic stuff. And it's like, well, it just says you're bilingual. Like that shit, like to me, that's how I see it. Like you bilingual, like why is that a bad thing?
That's real.
That realistically, like, somebody back on the block is going to need the information you're probably about to write this dissertation on, would never read
Right.
it in a journal.
Right.
But that's cool because they don't have to because they got you to decipher that shit for them, and you could spit it to
Right.
them in a way that they're gonna get it.
Right. That's real.
That's a gift because I don't know if fucking Charles William Carter III can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No dig on him, but academia is
Right.
where he only speaks one language.
Right. Like you said, we're given certain gifts so that we can use those gifts to contribute to the world.
Right. Those people that, your dissertation chair, I don't know that they could come, and share that same information, with my partner from where I'm from and say it
Hmm.
in a way that they would get it.
Hmm.
Because they're gonna get
Hmm.
lost in the sauce with all that, technical jargon. It's like that, do you need to say cognitive dissonance or do you just need to say, hey, the way you see the world is not lining up with what you get? I can understand one, cognitive dissonance. What the fuck does that mean, man? I don't know what that even means.
You
But it's
gotta
like,
you gotta find the citation and who said that initially, and then you gotta go make sure you put that in there.
exactly, yeah. You're like, what? That's inefficient. That does not operate with who you are as a person. You're like, I can circumvent all that. I can write you a paper that covers all of this stuff and not have to do any of that shit.
I could give it to you in 10 pages,
Yeah.
but you asking for 150.
You want me to write a book? I can give you this shit in a pamphlet, bro. Like, what you doing? It's so funny because like when I first got out of college, like my first job was in a kind of social science research. And so I
Hmm.
was like a technical report writer. And so the mantra was, say what you're gonna say it, then say it again. And like that's just why do I have to say the same shit 3 times?
So you know
But that's how you
exactly what
write.
I'm talking
Like, why do I need to tell you what I don't do that in real life. I didn't get on here and be like, hey, so in the next sentence, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna talk about your gifts. Then I tell you what I think your gifts are, and then I say, hey, so those gifts I talked about, like that is a waste of time. That is inefficient. Like that is stupid to do. You'd be looking at me like, why didn't you just say what you were gonna say? Why the fuck you tell me you was gonna say?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like no, so like one of my classmates, I'm real cool with her, Amy.
Mm.
And like she was like, yo, Sean, you're so concise and stuff with your posts and everything. I'd be like, look, I ain't got time to sit there and beat around the bush with y'all.
Exactly. I'm succinct. I'm out here. Academia slows you down. It actually slows you down. It makes you
I'm trying to operate on 1,000 miles an hour. They want me to go at 0.5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like, bruh.
You're like, bruh, like, dude, this is like, playing pickup ball with like, a bunch of 60, 70-year-olds, bro. Like, I could have got up and down the court, man.
Hey, come on, push the ball. Don't walk the ball up the court. Let's go. Fast break every time.
What are we doing, man? You want to walk it up? What are we doing? Get it out. Push the ball up here.
Right. And then look, when we score, I'm full court press, baby. Let's go. I'm going all they want to jog back. Oh.
Yeah, like come on, man. They like, oh, drop back, man. We need to get into our zone, man. They doing Syracuse, man.
No, man.
Yeah.
Deny everything. Like, no.
That's why this shit has been so difficult for you to get started. Because you're like, if this is what it is, and I gotta give up, like, and I gotta go slow and play this way, like, I can't do that for 2 years.
That's
right?
it.
The reason the program worked for you is because you doing business, you're doing all this other stuff. You can, nobody recognizes how long the paper took you to write because you just know you turned it in. Yeah. Dissertation is like, oh, chair sees like, oh, you did this or you did that. And, classmates will see like, well, damn, Rwenshaun is like, he's already here. How did he do that? And so like, hey, man, and now you see it like how the sauce is made.
Right. And so now I think, but to your point though, bro, I think that's why I haven't started, so I can get further enough behind everybody, and then I can crank it out, and then I'm still on schedule.
Yep. That's crazy.
That shit is weird.
But it speaks to who you are, like, right? Like you are. It's your way of saying, hey, I get it. I got to do this so that you guys stay comfortable with me, so that you guys don't think I'm doing something out of the ordinary or, cheating or whatever. I don't need any eyes asking me a ton of questions about what the fuck I'm doing. So let me do that. And then I'm going to come through and we go all finish at the same time and it'll be all gravy. It's for them, not you.
Wow.
But you aren't aware of it. Like you're so used to operating in spaces like this that it's like, it's unconscious. It is really unconscious for you. That it's done it for them. Like let you guys get so far enough ahead so that it's all good. It'd be like me running against Usain Bolt. Like, that gun go off, I need to take off full speed. He could like sit there and watch me get down the track. And know he gonna hawk me down like no problem.
Right. Or it's like me playing ball with a 6-year-old. All right, we going to 10. I'm gonna let you get to 9. And then every other shot you come up, get it out of here.
Get that out of here. Exactly. You ain't gonna score no more. You scored 9, you thought you had it. You never gonna score again, and I'm gonna get my 10, and it was a close game. It was never really close. I designed that. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's gotta feel weird when you're, I'm using air quotes here, like in a room with other people that are supposed to be up here. But it speaks to where you are in relation to them. So like you're comparing yourself to them, but like realistically, they aren't where you are at. And that's not to be like, oh, Rwenshaun's like the God's gift to anything. It's just saying like that's just objective. I mean, shit, everybody out there isn't Damian Lillard. Like they can't put up 50 on call if needed.
Right.
That's the reality of it. I mean, everybody wish they could. And everybody in the NBA is good. Like, compared to basketball players, like they are all good. I mean, same thing if like you look at beast mode in football, like running backs are good. Everybody's not him.
Right. Whew. All right. So even with that in mind, how do I change that perception of myself?
Well, I think first you've got to start reminding yourself on a daily basis of like, retraining how you think about you. Like the term, like, I'm writing this like treatment protocol manual for imposter syndrome and shit. And it's like I'm coming up with all these terms. And so, like, I call it perception dysmorphia, right? So, like, you got to start getting yourself to line up with how other people see you. And so by that, you got to train your brain to like not call it procrastination, but say you're efficient. And so recognize that like, yeah, this is just not an efficient way for me to do it. How do I make it efficient for me? Okay, let me not do anything on it until I'm ready to, get there, and not deem
Right.
yourself for that stuff. So that like
Right.
the way you operate is not in a deficit, it's not a detriment to you. Like the way you operate has made you very successful.
Right. 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 Right.
It's
Right.
not a
True.
bad thing.
True.
So you got to remind
True.
yourself that, like, over your history, the way you've operated has been a benefit to you. Like, if you could just change that, that would be gold.
Okay. Okay.
Like, keep that at the forefront.
Okay.
And then also, I
Okay.
think you need to, or I would like to see you kind of acknowledge the amount of stuff that you've been doing, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
I'm bad.
most of these
I'm bad
guys are
at that.
just doing school, and
Yeah.
they're still like not way ahead of you. But again, that speaks to your ability to be efficient and just the talent you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to remind yourself of that. Like, you do other stuff and you're
Whole
right where
lot
they
of other
are.
stuff.
A whole lot. Yeah, it's not, and not like a whole lot of just doing other things. Like, it's operating at a high level.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
'Cause, you may not want to say this about yourself, so I'll say it, but like, you're an overachiever.
Yeah. I am. I am.
You're not
I am.
mediocre, bro. Like, if we're gonna keep it 1,000, right? Like, you're not mediocre. Like, your business is not at a mediocre level. Your speaking is not at a mediocre level. Like, that's just not. It's not the truth. You've been in this program. You've released the workbook for like stress, like the daily
Right.
journal. Like,
Yeah.
you've done other shit in business
A
and
lot of
everything.
extra shit.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. I
But you
guess.
don't you
I
don't pay
guess.
attention to that. You can go ahead.
No. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say like you spend more time than I would like to see you do looking at like where you are in comparison to other people. And I think that's like a disservice for you because that's
Mhm.
like you looking down and not up.
Mhm.
And that's not like a dig on the people, like, oh, they're beneath you, but I'm just speaking
Yeah.
objectively. Like you're comparing yourself to people that can't go as fast as you, that aren't as
Right.
efficient as you are.
Right. That
So
makes
like
a
your
lot of
game
sense.
doesn't need to be there. I don't know that, Kobe was looking at other people and be like, oh man, like I don't do it like, James Harden or some shit. It was the other way around. Like he was doing what he did. Other people was like, oh shit, I need to be trying to get where he's at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And you
Okay.
don't do that enough.
All right. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna, even in my journal, man. I'm gonna make sure I write more about that on a daily basis.
Hmm.
How did I operate at a high level, at a high efficient level today?
Yes. Yep. Like the
Mm.
way I phrased it is like the way I talk about like, James Harden versus, Russell Westbrook. It's like some people are like, high investment, high return. That's like a Westbrook, where he's, up and down the court. He's, over here, he's falling on the ground, back up, getting a rebound on the other offensive end and shooting the shot and then trying to get a steal. And then you have James Harden, who's like low investment, high return, right? And that equals the efficiency. And I feel like you're like that. He uses energy when he needs to, but he's not all over the place like Westbrook. But they both all stars at the end of the day.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
They got there different ways. So like in
Right.
your program, everybody will, I'm assuming at the that means this level, they'll finish the dissertation, they'll all be
Mhm.
PhDs. It's just gonna look different how they got there. You're
Right.
low
Right.
investment, high return,
Right. That's true. That's true.
which is, in I would love to do that. I would love to not have to work as hard and still get the same results. That is a great thing.
I think though, to that point, even with because of the way I operate and the way I approach academia, I think it makes the PhD, the dissertation itself, work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I shy away from it as well, because it's work. I'm like, bruh, because of all of the extra stuff that we pointed out, like it doesn't make sense to me because it's not
Yep.
efficient. So I gotta work hard at doing what they're telling me to do to be, okay, it makes sense. I gotta learn how to flip that and just be like, look, this is what you gotta do. And
So what about like your language around that? You say work hard. And so like when I hear that, I don't see you as a person that's not a hard worker, because look at all the stuff you're doing. Are you saying that it's not easy? I don't think that's what you
it's
mean either. But maybe it is.
it's not. I would say it's not easy for me to sit down and do it.
Got you. It's not that the actual like what you're doing is difficult.
Right.
Got you.
Yeah.
And I think when
It's
you
not
say
easy.
it, like, does your brain know the difference?
Nah, it's not.
It's going to treat it the same way as like it's a difficult thing. But like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know you to be a person that runs from adversity.
Right.
Yeah. It's like it made me think
Okay.
about like you as a person that has like a low frustration tolerance, but that's not you. Like you can, withstand, stuff that's unpleasant. You know what I mean? Like you can withstand that and be able to still thrive.
Right.
Obviously, look at all the schooling you've gone through. Look at these letters you got, right? Like that shit is it's the truth. So, it's not that you have like a low frustration tolerance. Like you can handle frustration and unpleasantness. It's it's the fact that like this is super inefficient and you just rather not do that. That's what makes it. It's not that it's not easy to do. It's difficult for you to say, I'm gotta operate this way for a super long time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
But I don't know that it has to be a long time if you manage the time correctly. Like maybe maybe it'll be enough for you to just make the decision about when you're going to start and when you're going to actually buckle down. So that like maybe the fact that you haven't done that and you keep talking to people and they're like, where are you? And you're like, I don't want to talk about it. I haven't started. And yeah, but if you would have just been intentional and chosen a date and say like, hey, I'm not going to get started until June of this year, you wouldn't be
Right.
feeling like this anxiety or like you're fucking up. You like,
That's
I'm not gonna
true.
do that until June anyway, so I'm not even tripping about this shit.
That's true. That's very true, bro. Set a date. All right. I got
Yeah, a date for you to start. You run your own race, bro.
you. That's real.
And it takes away the power from like, these feelings that you're doing it wrong. You're like, I'm not even supposed to be starting yet, so I don't need to be tripping on that thing. That date hasn't even come.
Right.
So if June is your start date, then you're like, oh well shit, now it's time to kick it into gear. And
That's it.
what I know of you is shit'll start to get done.
Right. Shit, honestly,
Yeah.
if I could ever, I pick a date like that, I'll be done got it done before then. Cause I'll be like, yo, let me get this shit out the way, so even when it's time for me to get this thing, I can focus on something else.
Yep, exactly. Look at the efficiency. You like, I'll just knock this shit out because I'm gonna be wanting to move on to some other shit by then anyway.
Right. I'll be like, look, that
Yeah,
may be a trip or something I want to go on, and I'll be like, look, ain't nobody trying to sit here and do that.
exactly. So that's what it is for you. Like you need to take the power back. Like you've been kind of, I guess, beholden to the universe, deciding for you, or you telling yourself you need to be doing X already.
Right.
And that's not how you operate. You kind of make,
True.
you create your own path. Like you write your own story. And here you are letting like all these other, academians, I guess that's the word. I don't even know. You tell me, you the PhD program.
Look, they call themselves what they want to call themselves.
Yeah, academics, I don't know what you call them, man. That's not me, so I don't know what you call them, bro. But all these guys trying to dictate your process. Yeah. They dictate your process, and that's not how you roll. You dictate your own process.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay, that
but
makes a
it's
lot
your
of sense, man.
dissertation. Yeah, it's your dissertation. You finish your dissertation when you get ready.
Yeah, you gave me some stuff to chew on.
Hell yeah. They're not gonna kick you out the program though. Like, I mean, yeah, so come on now. Like, yeah, there's no like real threat of like, oh, you didn't do it by, March 31st, you out.
Oh yeah, no,
And
no, no, not none of that at all. Yeah, like I said, I think it's more so the outside pressures of the timelines and people asking questions and all of that stuff. And like you said, it's because I gave all of them the power to
yeah,
dictate where I should be in my program,
yep,
or in my writing process, or all of these particular things. Because I mean, this hasn't stopped me from doing any other stuff that I've been doing anyway. So it's
right.
not like I need to get it done to move on to another phase of my life, because I'm still doing all of that stuff too. So
You know what it made
okay.
me think about when you were just talking was like I had a client that was similar to you. Like he's an athlete, right? And he was really efficient in that way too. So like it made me think about like the whole Iverson, like we talk about practice, like that was the thing. Like people would be like in practice going like super hard, and they're like, "Oh man, you aren't really pushing." And he's like, "Yeah, but when it's time for this meet and that gun go off, like I'm out there. I'm winning races. Like, so I don't know what you're talking about. Like, there's no point to go hard right here in practice because when the gun go off, it is too. He's like, you talk about practice. Like, what did I do in the game when it happened, bro?
Right, right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
showed
Man,
I
listen,
showed up and showed out.
facts, facts. I'm leading the league in scoring, bro. What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? You talking about I didn't show up to
Right.
kick it with you for 2.5 hours the day before? For what reason?
I had something else to do. Better to do at
Yeah,
one time.
exactly. And the thing is, like, the broader world is deemed him for that. He's a bad guy. And it's like,
Yeah,
nah, all those other dudes need to be in practice. He didn't. And I get the
yeah,
team understanding, but it's just he operating at a different level.
right.
And the reason your
Operated.
situation is more unique though is because your dissertation is kind of more of an independent thing, you do have more autonomy over that.
True. That part too.
Yeah. Yeah. So instead of them dinging you, you're dinging yourself
Right.
unnecessarily. So stop doing that shit.
All right, man. All right. No, but no, I definitely appreciate you, man. Like this
Hell
is
yeah.
this is major.
Yes, sir. I'm glad.
Like
Yeah. You
like I
put those
like
stuff
I
in
said,
issue.
yeah, man. I was like, no, you put a lot of things in perspective for me, man. Like I said, I'm glad I have you in my back pocket to read, as a resource, man, and be able to
Appreciate
talk to
that.
you about it. Like, I was like, man, I need to get on your books, bro. Send me
Yeah.
send me the payment link and all that. Like, look, I need to be on your books. And the
Yeah.
thing about it though, is, a lot of times I ain't wanting to come at like, yo, hook me up, and like, nah, send me the link and everything. Tell me what I
Yep.
need to do to get to the schedule,
Yeah. He
bro.
was like,
Like,
treat me like I'm a client, bro.
for real though. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
for one, that's me respecting you for your craft and your expertise, because
Yeah.
you're expert in this. But then also me respecting you as a brother and a friend too. Like, nah, I
Yep.
don't look at the friend. Like, nah, yo,
I appreciate
like,
it, fam. I mean, I'm the same way, like with like the way you operate, and it's hard to be on the other side of that, right? Because it's like, oh, bro, I got you, man. Like, don't even trip.
right,
And I also like there
right.
was a part we was talking about it of how like I know if I did that, I was gonna get more static from you. So it's like I know I can't do that.
You
Like I,
exactly, exactly.
I
That's like,
already
yeah.
know. I know
I
I
was
can't be like,
like,
nah, don't trip. I'm gonna get so much static. I don't even want that problem, right? Like I don't want that smoke
yeah,
at all.
exactly, exactly. But no, definitely though, brother. I appreciate you. Um, this is very enlightening, man, and I'm gonna definitely work on this stuff, man, and really change my language about my own gifts. And then
Yeah,
also just recognizing what my gifts are. I think that's
I
that's
was
one of the
just about to
major
say
things.
that.
Yeah,
I
let
was
me write
about to
that
say that.
down.
Like, it might be helpful for you to write down that stuff, like the stuff that you're actually thinking isn't good. So, like, when you label it procrastination, like, is it really that?
Okay.
Like, so, like, really be intentional about your language and the words you're using to describe what it is that you do.
Okay, gotcha.
Because you're
I do that.
using more, I guess, overly negative language to describe something that's positive. Efficiency is good. You know, procrastination, we hear that, we're like, oh, that's wrong. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, well, are you procrastinating or being efficient? You know?
Right,
Yeah,
right. Am I
procrastination
still
says
getting
you're
it
putting
done?
off something because exactly you can't do it or don't want, like, you know what I mean? Efficient says like, oh, I don't start until I need to.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
that's different.
All
And
right,
I'm
good
wondering how
stuff,
many other spaces are you saying that about some of the stuff or the way you operate, where you're labeling it
bruh.
negatively when it's really a gift.
Look, you really got my wheels turning, man. Like I was like, I need to. It's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
tear down and build back up type of moment right
You
here.
on the same shit, yeah. Like legit, when I be talking to you, like we're talking about, I be on the same thing. Like, damn, like I need to check me on the same shit.
Yo, you be in sessions, you be like, yo, let me make sure I write that down so I can go back there and look at that myself.
I'm like, man, hopefully they don't see me taking this note, like, because this is the note for me. This don't have shit to do with you.
right.
Oh, that's
Bro,
comedy. I legit be
I
doing
was,
that. Facts, like,
I be like, damn. I wanted to step outside of myself, like, damn, nigga, where you get that from?
yeah. Right, I did that. I be writing that shit down like this ain't no note for you. This is for me. Like I'm supposed to be. Oh, that's comedy. That's hilarious. I thought it was just
Oh,
me. I'm glad it's not just me, bro.
no, bruh. You're like, I be saying stuff like it, but it flows. Because it makes you like when you. I think as a helper,
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact we in tune with people, we can start seeing ourselves
Right.
in people, and then that's why
Yep.
when we start giving certain directions or understanding, seeing stuff, they be like, hold up, that's me too. Like let me reel this
Yeah.
back in. Like
Facts. Facts. Yeah, I'm constantly evaluating me while I'm evaluating
right,
them. Like, did I?
right,
Shit. Yeah, I need to break that shit down. Like, you need to tell yourself,
right,
Stevon.
right,
What the fuck? Like,
right, right.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, but no, brother, man, I definitely appreciate you, man. I know we almost
Yes,
at time,
sir.
but man, I hope you have a good rest of the weekend. If you need
Oh
me,
yeah,
just hit
man. It's
me
been a
up.
good week.
Good. You out there in Cali living it up. What's the weather like out there right now?
Oh man, it's sunny out here, man. It's probably like what? I mean, it's colder for us. Like it's probably like 65, 70 degrees. Like it should be like 80. It looks like it's 80 outside, but it's like probably like 70. Yeah, but
Oh
it's
man,
a nice day out. Not a cloud in the sky. It's beautiful.
man, whatever, man. I gotta make it out to the West Coast sometime this year, though,
Yes,
for real.
sir. Yes, sir.
But no,
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
but bruh, man, I appreciate you, man. Like I said, I hope you have a good rest of the weekend, man, and I'll holler at you later on.
Absolutely, fam. Appreciate
All
you,
right,
man.
man.
Glad you trusted me with all this.
Appreciate you, bruh. Peace.
All right, brother. All right.